After Ever After by Jordan Stallenbrick. To Emily propose, the bravest kid who ever set foot in my classroom. Four years ago. I'm in 4th grade, day 1. I'm sitting in my seat in class, minding my own business. I'm kind of quiet, but everyone knows exactly who I am. Jeffrey Alper, that boy who had cancer. There isn't a kid in the grade who hasn't eaten spaghetti at the church hall's annual Alper family fundraiser dinner. Or gotten dragged into a high school jazz band concert in my honor. Or God help me, bought my Save Jeffrey t-shirt. If you were me, you'd try to keep a low profile too. The door opens as the school counselor walks in, followed by a scrawny kid on crutches. As the counselor starts and whispering, "Pow wow." With our teacher, the kid steps sides around her. I gasp. He's bald. He mutters angrily to himself, and there's a huge, curving red scar across the entire side of his head. There follows the kind of awkward silence. By the time we were in 8th grade, would probably cause some wise guy to say, "Whoa, dude, awkward silence." But we were still in 4th grade, so we just sit there and squirm until the teacher turns to us and says, "Boys and girls, we have a new student joining us today. His name is Thaddeus Ibsen. Do you remember when we had our talk about last week about how we're going to welcome a new classmate? Well, here he is. Thaddeus is going to need our help becoming a member of our classroom family. And I know I can count on each and every one of you. Now, Thaddeus, why don't you come over here and take a seat next to, let's see, Jeffrey Alper." Why is she putting the new kid next to me? Certainly I get it. I don't remember the special talk she supposedly had with the class last week, but then again, I'm absent a lot. Also, I always don't catch on so fast, but this time I put 2 and 2 together. It takes a moment for the counselor to pull out the chair next to mine, for the new kid to maneuver himself into it, and for the class to start up again. It is soon as the teacher begins telling us about our next social studies assignment. I lean over and whisper, "Hi, I'm Jeffrey. I had cancer too." He looks at me like I'm partially loathsome slice of a school lunch meatloaf and says, "Wow, congratulations. What do you want, a medal?" That's how I met my best friend. The end. Well, it was for what it's worth. I'm here, and I never knew it was possible to feel so numb on such a big day. I'm sitting in my hot, sticky groan, trying to keep my big, stupid, look-square hat from tilting and sliding off my head completely. It doesn't help that the metal folding chair I'm on has been baking in the sun for hours. I stare at the sweat-drenched neck pimples of the kid in front of me. But really, I'm not looking at anything. In fact, because I'm me, I'm spacing out. My mom always says, give Jeffrey 10 seconds and we'll find something to wonder about. And today I have more material than usual. For example, why is everyone staring so hard at me? I guess I should be used to it by now, but I'm not. People used to stare at me enough when I was just one half a cancer twins. But the things have hit me a whole new level since the relapse and my long ride. A whole state testing fiasco, the lawsuit threat, and the great 8th grade walkout. Now I am not just Jeffrey Albert, struggling 8th grader. Since all this stuff has hit the fan, for the second time in my life, I'm Jeffrey Albert. Officials town cause. Go me. If you want to know how this thing started, I'll tell you. It was right at the beginning of the year, in Mrs. Palmer's English class. She gave each kid, except me and Tad, a marble notebook and told us that she would assign journal topics several days each week as a class warm-up exercises. And she told us our first topic, the most annoying thing in the world. I opened my laptop and got right to work. When I was 4 years old, I was diagnosed with cancer. The treatments lasted almost 3 years, and it was rough. I lost all my hair, which it used to be bald and curly, really cool. When it grew back in, it was brown, straight, really dorky. I remember being tired all the time. I had bruises all over my body. Oh, and I used to throw up pretty often. I still have the scar on one side of my chest from what the doctors implanted. A chemotherapy port, too. I don't remember most of the details, but I do know that being treated for leukemia was torture. The funny thing is, in treatment, is not compared to what happens after you're quote-unquote cured. And that's the most annoying thing in the world. They tell you that how lucky you are to be cured, like you escaped the death sentence. But being a cancer survivor can be life sentence all at its own. On the last day of my cancer treatment, the hospital people threw a little party with cake and ice cream. Everybody was hugging and laughing, but my mom looked sad the whole time. On the whole 2-hour ride home from Philadelphia, I tried to sleep, but it was hard. My brother, Stephen, wouldn't stop babbling on and on about his girlfriend Annette, but finally, Stephen and I must have both dozed off. When we were maybe half an hour from home, I woke up. My parents were talking in the front seat. It sounded like my mother might have been crying. Dad was his usually impatient self. What do we do now, Mom asked. What do you mean, what do we do now? We get off on the turnpike and made a left. Haha, I mean, what do we do now? I don't know, honey. Maybe we can go home and live happily ever after. But we don't know if Jeffrey will stay healthy. You don't know if he won't even officially be out of the woods for 2 more years. But there we're eating cake, pretending everything was perfect. just so seems wrong. So what are you saying? Should we sit around wearing black until Jeffrey's almost 10? Look, I don't mean to snap at you. Really, I don't. It's just, we have to put this behind us. The way I see it, we don't have a whole lot of other choices. Looking back, seems pretty worried that Dad was one saying that we should all live happily ever after. I guess I'm saying it, doing it now, two different things, or he wouldn't hate me so much now. Time. Miss Mom called. Jeffrey Alper, did you hear me? It's time to stop writing now. Apparently she said she had been talking to me for a while before I noticed. Tad elbowed me in the ribs and I muttered, "Attention, Captain Spittling. All hands on deck." See, I have this problem and getting kind of spacey sometimes. And I miss some of the things my teachers say. That happens to a lot of kids who have leukemia. Because the chemotherapy, drugs, and radiation, chemotherapy, drugs, and radiation can mess up your brain permanently. Some kids come out totally fine, but I'm not one of those kids. I never even had radiation, but I did have a high dose and interactable methotrexate, which is the fancy way of saying the doctors used to shoot poison into my spinal cord and bathe my brain in it. And it left me a little scrambled up. But by the way, Tad used to make fun of other kids' disabilities all the time. I didn't really like it, but I tried to make Tad potentially correct. It was a recipe for disaster. "Oh, sorry, Miss Palmer," I said. I was just really concentrating on my writing. She smiled sweetly. "That's funny, Jeffrey. You know, I taught your older brother, Stephen. He was exactly the same way." "Spectastic," Ted whispered, not very quietly. She gave him a look. "Thoughtful," she said. Wow, this was new. Teachers had any patience for my learning problems. And they definitely never told me I was anything like perfect. Older brother. The bell rang again, and Miss Palmer smiled again. "Well, class," she said over a sound of 27 kids up-zipping their backpacks. "I can't wait to see how we learn and grow together this year." It was kind of dorky, that thing teaching say all the time. But I had the feeling that Miss Palmer really meant what she was saying. That when I started to think that maybe 8th grade could be different from all the other horrible school years that I had. As Tad would say, hoping for your first mistake. That is it for the rest of the video. We will pick up next time on page 10 tomorrow. Tomorrow's next chapter is called Hot Legs. After Ever After, Jordan, Solid Brick. Like and subscribe.